Okay, for number one, it talks about wanting to edge the outside path of a courtyard, and you have to know what edging means to be able to do that. Edging just means kind of like a border around the outside. And if you look at the picture, you see that the garden is actually 16 by 22, but we want 4 feet in between the garden and the edging. So 4 feet all the way around. And so what that does is that makes this 22 feet extend 4 feet out this way and 4 feet out this way. And it makes the 16 feet extend 4 feet out this way and 4 feet out this way. And so instead of having 16 by 22, you now have a length of 22 plus the top 4 plus the bottom 4, which is 30. And you have a width of 16 plus the left 4 plus the right 4, which is 24. And so if we're wanting to find how much edging we need, we were wanting to know the perimeter. And so we just add all 4 sides. So our new sides are 30 feet long and 24 feet wide. So we have 30 plus 24 plus 30 plus 24, which is 108 feet of edging. So we're going to need 108 feet of edging to complete the project. Number 2, I'm going to let you try on your own. And so because I'm going to let you try it on your own, I'm going to go ahead and give you the answer that you should be getting. You should be getting a perimeter of the picture, which is 24 inches, and the perimeter of the outside edge of the frame, which is 32 inches. For number 3, we have to use our circumference formula. It says what is the circumference in terms of pi, and then also in terms to the nearest tenth, which is decimal. And also we have to find the area. And so to find our circumference is 2 pi r, where r is the radius. Well, we know that if 15 inches is the diameter, then the radius is half that, so the radius is 7.5 inches. And so all we do is we plug in 2 pi times 7.5, which is 2 times 7.5, 15 pi. That is your circumference in terms of pi. And then in your calculator, you type in 15 times pi, or you could use 3.14, it's just not as accurate. And you end up getting a circumference that is approximately 47.1 inches. And make sure we use our units correctly here. Now that's for the circumference. For the area, your formula is area equals pi r squared. So all we do is plug in our radius and we square it. And when we square it, we get 56.25 pi inches squared. And that's in terms of pi. To find the area without pi, we're still going to say 56.25 times pi, or 3.14. To be more accurate, use the pi button in your calculator. And we get area is approximately 176.7 square inches. Again, when we use area, we're multiplying inches times inches, and that gets us inches square. Now I'm going to let you try B by yourself, but the answer you should be getting circumference is 8 pi centimeters for approximately 25.1 centimeters for your circumference. And for your area in terms of pi, you should be getting 16 pi square centimeters, which is approximately 50.3 square centimeters. To find the perimeter of triangle EFG, we have to find the distance of all sides, or the length of each segment, EG, EF, and FG. And so we'll start with the easy one, EF, because all we have to do is count how long EF is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we count FG, because that's a horizontal distance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the difficult one is going to be EG. And the way that you do EG, you can either use the distance formula, but since we already have a picture, I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem and make myself a right triangle. And so this distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And using the Pythagorean theorem, I can say 8 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared, which is 64 plus 36 is c squared. C squared equals 100, which makes c equal 10. So in other words, the distance from E to G is 10 units. And so when I find the perimeter, I add all three sides, 8 plus 6 plus 10, and I get a perimeter of 24 units. With that being said, I'm going to let you try number 5 on your own. And I got a perimeter of 20 units when I did number 5. Alright, this one is a little tricky because you're wanting to make a rectangular banner, and if you don't read all the way, you're going to get this one wrong. Okay, the banner is 2.5 feet wide and 5 feet high. And it says, to the nearest square yard, how much material do you need? Well, it says to the nearest square yard, and I've been given my units in feet. And so before I work this problem, I actually have to change my feet to yards. And so I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. And so I set up a proportion, and I know I have 2.5 feet, and I want to know how many yards is 2.5 feet. So I have feet over yards, I just cross multiply. 3x equals 2.5, divide by 3, I get x equals 5 over 6. And it's best to leave your unit as a fraction so that you don't have to cut off any decimals. So instead of 2.5 feet, I've changed it to 5 over 6 yards. And then I have to do the same thing with my length. So I know that 3 feet is 1 yard, and I have 5 feet that I want to know how many yards it is. So I have 3x equals 5, divide by 3, and I get x equals 5 over 3. So my unit in yards is 5 over 3 yards. And so now, using these dimensions, it says how much material do I need. And so this is an area problem because I'm wanting to have the entire poster. So I do area is length times width. So 5 over 6 times 5 over 3 gives me 25 over 18. And it says how much will I need to the nearest square yard? Well, 25 over 18 as a decimal is 1.38, but I need more than 1 yard. And so to the nearest square yard, I'm going to need approximately 2 square yards. yards. With that being said, I'm going to let you try number 7. Be careful again because I give you yards and feet, and so see if you can answer the question. We want our dimensions to be in feet. For number 8, it says, what is the area at the figure on the right? And so what we need to do is we know that this length is 9 centimeters because of the 2 tick marks. And then we know this is 3 centimeters, this is 3 centimeters, 3, 3, and 3. And so probably the easiest thing to find the area is to cut this up into little sections. And so if I find the area of this rectangle, it's length times width, so I get 27 centimeters square. And I find the area of this rectangle, this has to be, if this is 9, that means that this has to be 6, because 6 and 3 give you your 9. And so now the area of this rectangle in the middle is 6 times 3, which is 18 square centimeters. And then if this is 6 and I have this part as 3, then this has to be 3, which I already know because at the top, 3 times 3 gives me 9 centimeters square. So I add the total areas, 9 plus 18 plus 27, and I get 54 square centimeters. And I'm going to let you do number 9 on your own. But when you get number 9, you should get 64 square feet. All right, for number 10, it says to find the area of the shaded region. And if I have forgotten to tell you, the area of the shaded region is all of this one is shaded. And on number 11, everything is shaded except for the white square in the middle. So we'll start with number 10. Again, the best way to do it is to block it off. So if I block it off into little squares or rectangles, I know this is 5 units right here because it's the same as this one over here. And right away, I get this area, which is 25 square meters. And I also get this area, which is 25 square meters. I can split up this. This gives me 10, and this gives me 5 and 5, and together it gives me 20. And so we know if this is 5, then straight underneath it, parallel to it, is also 5. So that's how I got 5 times 5 is 25. So I've got my 2 little squares. Now I need my rectangle, but this long side right here is no longer 18 because I've taken 5 right here. This little section is 5. So I no longer have 18 right there for this little section. It now becomes 13. 13 and 5 give you the entire distance, which is 18. And so now to find the area of the big rectangle, I have 13 times 20. And 13 times 20 is 260. So when I add all 3 of my figures together, I get 260 plus 25 plus 25, and that gives me 310 meters square. Again, the shaded part for number 11 is all the way around. And your hint for number 11 is take the big rectangle and subtract the small rectangle. And when you do that, you should get 80 square inches. For numbers 12, A and B, I did not do this one because I feel like you can count the squares yourself, and then you can also figure out part B. Let me know if you have any questions. Just come into class with any questions that you have. Have a good day.